friends and welcome to Obsidian Soft. Today, I will show you the real power of Firebase using their authentication with the real-time database. Previously, I showed you how to connect to Firebase real-time database and we covered a few examples. However, our database's security rules were public. That is, anyone with the link to the real-time database could read or write to the database. This is okay for small college-level projects, but if you want something more professional, your rules need to be more secure. So we will develop a small example of Firebase authentication using email and password where users can add or view their own notes, but after securely logging in. Firebase authentication also has Google sign-in, sign-up, but it's a lengthy process, so we will cover that in a later tutorial. So this is the demo of the app at work. I can sign up using any email account. It is so much easier to remember your emails as compared to usernames. I will log in as I've already signed up with this account before, and you're taken to your notes screen where only your notes are loaded. Let's go back and try signing up. I will use a different email address and password. And now a new user will be created in the system against this email. And this time the note screen doesn't have anything as I'm a different user now. So let's begin. First, we need to create our project in Firebase in which we will have authentication enabled and we will have a real-time database too. So open up firebase.google.com. You need to sign in using your Gmail. Then go to console. I'm going to create a new project and let's call it Notes Project for App Inventor. Okay, click on Continue. We can go with the default settings. Continue, Continue, and choose an account for analytics. Choose the default account. If you do not have this default option, then you can create one too by clicking here, okay? Click on Create Project. It will take a bit of time. Now it's ready, so click on Continue. On the left-hand side, we have our project categories. So click on Build and choose Authentication first. Click on Get Started. Let's cross this out. Okay, so you can see that we have some native providers and we will be using the email password one today, but we have additional providers such as Google, which I talked about earlier, and we can do it in a later tutorial, okay? So just click on email password and enable this. Enable the first option, do not enable the second option, okay? So just enable the first option, click on Save. And now it has been enabled, okay? Now we need a real-time database for our project. So again, click on Build and choose Real-Time Database. Okay, and then click on Create Database and choose the location nearest to you. Next. So you can see that when we had used real-time database before, we always went for this start in test mode and it made the database public, okay? But we are going to start in locked mode, okay? So read and write are at the moment false. Click on enable. Now in the data tab, so we have multiple tabs here. In the data tab, this is the link to our database, okay? So click on this chain icon and copy it, and then I have this WordPad open, so I'm just going to paste the database URL. You can use some other text editing software too. So we just need this link to our database, okay? Now just copy the rules from here. So starting from curly bracket till the end, I'm going to give all these rules and all the links and everything in the video description too, so don't worry about that. So just copy this, okay, and go back, and in rules remove this by selecting it and deleting it, and then pasting the new rules, and then make sure that you click on publish. So what do these rules mean? This means that only logged in users can access the data, and these means that a user can see only his or her own data and not anyone else's, okay? Now we need another thing, the web API key. So click on this cogwheel and click on project settings, okay? And here we have the web API keys, so just copy it, okay? Do not use mine, okay? And then keep it safe for later use. So I've made a slot for this. So now we can start working in MIT App Inventor. So go there, go to project, start a new project. Let's call it Notes Firebase App. Keep the toolkit default. Click on OK. In screen one's properties, make align horizontal, align vertical, both center, okay? And I need a text box from user interface. This is for my email text, okay? And I need a password text box below it, okay? And let's change the hint of my email to enter email, and password is enter password, okay? I'm going to speeden up the video and just make the font bold and do some other customizations. Okay, now we need a button. So let's rename it to sign up button. Some customizations quickly. Select the button and duplicate it by pressing Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V on the keyboard for Windows, or Command+C, Command+V for Mac OS. Rename this one to login button, okay, and change the text accordingly to log in, okay. We need a notifier for any messages, and we need from connectivity a web component. We will not be using the Firebase DB component here because with authentication we need to send some extra data and all that. We need another screen for showing our notes, so click on add screen. Let's call it note screen, okay. Click on OK. We need to make align horizontal center, align vertical center, a text box, rename it to notes text. Same customization as the other text boxes. A button, rename it to save button. Again, customize it. Okay. And we need a list view for showing already saved notes, okay. And we again need a notifier for any error messages. And from connectivity, we again need the web component for talking with the Firebase real-time database, okay. And we are also storing time with our notes, so we need the clock sensor. So from sensors, get the clock. Screen design is done for the note screen, so choose the screen 1 again and click on blocks. Now we need a few global variables. So UID, this is the user's unique identifier, okay. So an empty text box, right click, duplicate, and this is a token, okay. So whenever the user logs in or signs up, he's given a special ID and a token, and we need these for accessing the real-time database securely for that particular user, okay. So I'm also going to make a global variable for my web API key. Okay, and if I go back, see, this was my web API key that I had copied and pasted earlier. So just select it, come back and paste it here. Okay. Our sign up and login process is pretty much identical except for a URL property. So it is best to make a procedure whenever you have repetitive code. So go to procedures and get the first type, and I'm going to call it sign up login process. Okay. And here, first of all, I am going to do some error checking that the user has given something for email and for password. So from control, get the if then else block, and from logic, get the or block. Again from logic, get the equal to block. You can right click, duplicate the empty text block. Okay, and here we can see what's inside our email text by getting the email text boxes text block. So if this is empty, email is empty, or the password is empty, so we need the passwords text block. Sorry, I accidentally got text color, but no worries, I can choose it from here. So I'm checking if either my email text is empty or my password text is empty. In that case, I'm going to use the notifier to show an alert to the user that actually I can right click, duplicate the empty text block and write something here. For example, enter both email and password. Okay. Now, in else, this means that they are not empty, so we can proceed with the login or sign up. So first of all, as I said to you before, that both sign up and login buttons have the same process and only the URL is different. So how are we going to get that URL? So I'm going to click on this cogwheel and then add an input to it, so that now this procedure takes in an input, and the name of the input could be URL. Okay. So whatever URL has been sent when this procedure was called, we are going to set it to web's URL property. So if I scroll down, I can get that block, and I can provide this by hovering over it and getting the get block for it to my property, the web's URL property. Another important thing is that I need to set my web's request header property. So I can actually duplicate it and choose request headers here. But now this is not a URL. This is actually a dictionary. So we're going to make a dictionary. Okay. But it will have only one key value pair. So I can actually click on the cogwheel and remove the extra pair. Okay. But what comes inside here? So I can right click and duplicate and bring it here. And now the spellings are super important. It says C capital content dash T capital type. Okay. And the next is an empty text block that says application / JSON. Okay, so spellings are important here. And now we are going to post the user entered email and password to the web by calling web's post text procedure, where the text is again a dictionary. So I can actually right click and duplicate it from here. Okay, and click on the cogwheel to add 2 more pairs to it. Okay, but now something else will be coming here. This will be email. Okay, I can plug this in here. This will be password. Okay, this is, now again spellings are important, return secure token. And what are the values? The values are, can actually duplicate it from here. So email text for email key, password text for password key, and this is from logic true. Okay, send us the secure token. Okay, this is done. So what are the actual URLs? Because we have made the procedure, but what are the URLs that are going in there, being sent to it? So for sign up button click event, okay, we are going to call the procedure sign up login process with a URL that is a join of two things. Get an empty text block, and from variables get the get block and choose web API key. Okay, so we have to send it our project key too, okay, which we had copied and pasted in a global variable for convenience. So what is now in the first slot? So this is the sign up button. So I will be giving you all these links. So for sign up URL, this is the URL. Okay, so going back, paste it there. Okay, right click, duplicate, choose login button here. Okay, and make sure that you now use the login URL. Okay, so again, so now it's sign in with password. Okay, so this is done. Now this post text will trigger the web's got text event. Okay, so if I click on web and get the got text event, okay, again, because of error handling, we need to check something. So from control, get the if then else block, and here in if we are going to check that our response code is 200. Why 200? Because this is the normal standard web response for a successful request to a server. Okay, so hover over response code to get the get block for it, and if it is equal to math 200, okay, then we are going to decode our response content, which is in JSON form, into a dictionary. And let me show you first what it usually looks like. So this is a sample JSON returned after authentication, and we have many things, but we are interested in ID token and local ID. So remember this, and we are going to decode our response content into a dictionary. So we can get a local variable for it, and let's call it response dictionary. And from web, we have this procedure called JSON text decode with dictionaries. We have used it many times before too when dealing with APIs. So response content. So make sure that you give it the response content and not the response code. Okay, so okay, after this we need to get those local ID and the ID token and set it to our global variables UID and token respectively. So from variables, get the set block. Now this is UID, and from dictionaries get the get value for key block, and here the key is a text block, okay, that says so local ID. So I will give this in the video description too. So local ID, and the dictionary is our response dictionary. Okay, right click, duplicate. Now this is our token, and we have to use the key for the token is actually ID token. So the spellings are very important. Okay, and then we are going to open another screen. So from control, get the open another screen block. Make sure that you choose the node screen, and we are going to send this data. So what we can do is that we can make a dictionary with 2 pairs of information in it. So this is my UID and the value is my UID that has now been set from the decoded response dictionary. Right click, duplicate, token, duplicate, token. So UID, token, token. We need to remember these spellings that we have used. And what comes in now? Else, because the if part of decoding the successful response and then opening another screen is done. So what are the situations in which we can have an error? The most prominent one could be that the user has entered a wrong password, or the user is trying to sign up when he has already logged in or signed in with that email before too, or he has provided a weak password. So weak password in Firebase authentication means a password that is less than 6 characters. Okay, so we are going to check for all that. So how can we do that? From control, get the if then else if block, which we are going to plug in inside else because we have multiple error situations. And I can click on this cog wheel to add an else if to it, and I think I need another one too. Okay, so it should look something like this. And our first error condition is that we are going to check for a weak password. So how do we know it's a weak password? We are going to give the weak password error message if I have signed up and not in the case of signing in. So how to differentiate between the two situations? If our URL, this URL that is also sent by web's got text event, if it contains the word sign up. Okay, let me show you this. So you can see that in case of sign up, it contains the word sign up here. So this is how we can differentiate between the sign up and login situation. Okay, so from logic, get the and block. From text, get the contains block. Here the text is our URL. So I can get this and choose URL here, and the piece is a text block that says sign up. Okay, and right click, duplicate. Now choose response content here and be careful with the spellings here. Weak underscore password. Okay, and in this case we are going to use the notifier to show an alert. This is a text block that says, okay, and here I can duplicate and plug this in, and this is email exists. This is only triggered by sign up, so we don't need to check for that. And we need to say that log in again. Please get the spellings right. Pause the video to capture the spellings. Invalid login credentials. Now, this is if either the email has not been registered or the password is wrong and you're trying to log in. So, incorrect email or password. We can do this. And actually we do not need this extra else if, so I can take them out and plug in only else here. Okay, so I can just show a general message because we don't really know what the error is, but we would like to know. So just error colon space. Okay, so this is done. The screen 1 code and design is complete. I just noticed it should be at least, okay. So the Firebase authentication part is done, and we still need to work on saving notes and loading notes and the second screen's code, but I'll cover that in a second tutorial, which will be the final tutorial in which we will complete the app. Okay, so I hope you liked it till here, and this Firebase authentication part is 100% complete. Do like my video and share it with your friends and family, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, kindly do so that you don't miss the great projects that I've planned for you. Thank you for watching. Have a good day and goodbye.